welcome to RockArena.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me, and pleasure.
I'm curious, is there a special meaning behind the name Dark Tranquillity?
I don't know about special, but I think the original idea was we wrote a song called Void of Tranquility, where the idea of the song was where do we draw inspiration and creativity from? Like, where does it come from? And we figured that the best stuff we write and come up with and all the ideas come from the most silent and dark place there is. Like when you're asleep or when you cannot sleep and you're alone in your bed and it's silent and it's dark. And that's like that dark tranquility is where inspiration kind of comes from. That's where you come up with all your ideas and where... so we figured our band is about creating something out of nothing, you know, like just having an idea and then making it having it come to fruition or making something out of it. And it just, it kind of felt right because that's how we started, right? We were in little rooms back in our parents' house and listening to music and realized, like, I've been dying to write music and we'd love to write lyrics and stuff like that, and everything that kind of comes from that dark place, you know, and as it should, you know, creativity should be about pain and misery and sorrow, I think, you know, and that's how we started.
Do you think death bands get better with time and even solidify as a sound? They have more time to write and keeping its true raw power.
I mean, that's definitely true in some cases. Like, there are different bands that are just keep getting better, like with time. But at the same time, there's something about that, you know, the first one or two albums, you know, where you don't really know, you don't really understand what's going on, but you have an idea, you know, and that comes through. So I think that raw energy and raw power and raw creativity of some of the earlier works of my favorite bands, at least, is very, very special. So there's, I mean, and when you're 19 or 20 to 22, 25, whatever, and you feel good about yourself and you have a band, then there's nothing that can stop you. You can do whatever you want. You're so full of yourself and you have all these ideas that you just want to do it. And then you turn 30 and you realize, okay, let's keep our expectations down a little bit. So it's different. I mean, I think like the stupidity and carelessness of youth is what makes fantastic music, you know, where you don't care about who's listening, you don't care about anything like that, you just do whatever you want. But as you grow older, you realize that perhaps this is not what people want or whatever. So things change, but some bands get better because of that, and some bands just lose it because they don't have that innocence and that power anymore. So, but I like to think that we have improved and became better over the years.
There's always a reason to aim and fight for something. What are you fighting for with your music? And do you think music is the voice of the spirits?
I think it's a fight against mediocrity. It's a fight against like uniformity and normal life. You know, like the reason we started the band was so that we wouldn't become our parents. Basically, you know, you want to get away from the normalcy and the mundane existence of normal life, and so you get into music because that seems exciting, you know, when you're young and you want to be the guy who just gets drunk on a festival like this and walks around and have fun and be able to play your music. So that was the exciting part, and then of course the creative part is what really keeps you going, like where you feel like, wow, this is what I still want to do, and I still want to express myself in an extreme way. And I don't know, like, of course, it has changed for all bands, but I don't know what were you saying, like the...
music is the voice of the spirit.
I think it's an outlet, you know, it's for at least for me, and I think for the kind of music that I listen to, and when I listen to a new band and a new artist, whatever, what I look for is honesty and and passion, you know. And so for me, I let out all the feelings that I wouldn't talk about during the day, you know. Stuff that I wouldn't talk about even to my closest friends, I put it into words, and I start screaming on stage, you know, or in the studio or in the rehearsal room. So I mean, I don't know about this or whatever, but it's definitely like the innermost thoughts and the innermost feelings that you get, like a fantastic way to express all of a sudden because you have a band.
Construct was one of the darkest albums the band has produced. And this album is a combination of everything that makes Tranquillity a great band. When you guys come together for a new album, how does it work? The process?
It's different. I mean, it has to, I mean, we've been together for 25 years, so I think we know how to do it, but of course we don't, because there's always, we don't want to do the same thing over and over again. We don't want to do, like, you get tired of yourself, you get tired of your sound, you get tired of working in a certain way, so we have to change that up all the time, otherwise what's the point? I mean, the whole reason we started the band was to create something that was new and different and special, and not be the standard, you know, music that is out there. And so of course the creative process has to be different as well, you know, and I guess we put a lot of effort into that, which means we end up killing ourselves trying to be different, which is tough sometimes. But for Construct, we wrote it in the studio, which was our first ever time doing that, and it turned out great, and we loved that experience. But for the next one, we don't really know. Like, we'll see what happens. Like, right now, we're just gonna focus on like finishing up shows and stuff, and then we'll head back and we'll see what's gonna happen. But as long as it's different, as long as it's new, and as long as it's different from what you've done before, then I'm happy at least, you know. I don't want the same old. I don't want to be comfortable and I don't want to be safe.
What was your biggest influences in the band's early years?
But I'm the lyricist. I'm the guy who writes the lyrics, not the music. But yeah, in the early days for me it was I wanted to combine like the aggressive nature of bands like Creator and Morbid Angel, whatever, Destruction, stuff like that, with lyrics that actually meant something, at least to me. And there were some bands that had that at the time, which one was Sabbath, the English thrash band Sabbath, where they wrote about Shakespearean fucking issues, and it was poetic and it was different and it was super cool, I thought. So that inspired us to form a band that had lyrics like that, but at the same time music that was more akin to the stuff that we were listening to, which was speed and death metal. But for me, if you're on stage or if you're in the rehearsal room, if in the studio, and you're screaming your head off, it has to be something that matters, in my opinion. Like that's how I kind of find my energy or whatever. It's so I just tend to write about stuff that I really need to scream about, stuff that I would rather like scream in my car or scream to my friends and stuff like that, but I keep it in and I keep it for the lyrics and I keep it for the songs, and it's just expressing the worst parts of my existence, the worst part about life in general, you know, the stuff that I really fucking hate, you know, about what's going on in the world right now. You know, I don't want to be pessimistic or anything like that. I want to point a finger at shitty stuff, you know, that ends up killing us in the end. And so of course I point a finger at religion, you know, I point a finger at uniformity and simplicity and, you know, single-mindedness and all that stuff. It's just stuff that, yeah, just ticks me off, makes me frustrated and angry, and for me, it's a great outlet to be able to sing it and scream it, and then I can let it go and live my life in a good way.
What do you think has kept the band going and you're pretty honest when it comes to criticizing and praising yourself.
I think like what has kept us going is that it's this kind of constant pursuit of making things better. Like we want to make the ultimate album, we want to make that perfect song, whatever. But at the same time, this was something that we started when we were 14, you know. And so when you're 15, 16, 17, that's when you kind of decide who you want to be in life, you know, what you want to do with yourself, and those are these formative years that kind of form you as a human being. And for us, it was all about metal and music and the band and the scene and everything like that. So it just became nothing else mattered, you know. That was it, you know. So being able to still do that, you know, that we decided on 25 years ago is fantastic. And I think the driving force is to always be better and kind of perform a better show, reach out to a large audience, have a great time, but without ever kind of losing what got us here in the first place, which was originality and integrity and passion, I think.
It's the best part of the music making process. Is it songwriting, playing new melodies, recording videos, or touring?
I like certain aspects of all of these things that we do. I love the fact, I love, of course, performing is perhaps the most rewarding, you know, in terms of how you get greeted by an audience and how you kind of get to express yourself like in a public forum like this. It's fantastic, but at the same, I think I love, as much as I hate writing lyrics and like going through the process, but that's the whole idea of it, you know. You have to hate it, otherwise nothing good will come out of it, you know. If it's too easy, it's not worth doing. So it has to be tough, it has to be torture. And being in the studio, even though as comfortable as our studio is, we have our own studio, we record everything there, it's fantastic, but you hate every second of it, but in a good way, you know, because you have to make an album, you have to make it work. And it does, you know, and then you can sit back and listen to the final mix and the final recording, and it's like, wow, it was all worth it. You know, that kind of delayed gratification, I think, is what it's all about. Like, it's the music that we've been writing for all these years. It's the music we've been writing for months, whatever, and then you finally get kind of the confirmation that it's actually good, and you can sit back and really, really enjoy it. It's like, yeah, like being on stage. Like we play songs that were written 20 years ago, and you see the entire crowd in Sweden Rock loving it. That's all you need. It's amazing.
When did you discover metal music? What age? And what was the first rock or metal album you bought?
I discovered metal at like 11 or something like that. So 83, 84. Through like friends and you know, older brothers of friends, and then also through Rockbox, which was the only metal station in Sweden at the time. So one of my first albums was like Theater of Pain by Mötley Crüe. I bought Power Slave by Iron Maiden just because the older guys in school had it, and so I bought that on cassette, which was. And I love that, so that's how it kind of got started. And I think I got really, really heavily into metal around 86, 87, when Creator came out, and Halloween and Blind Guardian, bands like that. Like that blew me away, and Creator made me want to be in a band, and that's how it started.
What's your opinion on the current stage of the Gothenburg sound and scene in general? Where do you think it's headed?
I don't know where it's headed, but I'm pretty proud of the fact that, of course, there are a lot of bands that are making it, and it seems like a legitimate kind of thing to Gothenburg scene. But basically, for me, it's just all my friends and all my favorite bands. So I don't know, like I don't pay much attention to it, but at the same time I keep up with all the new bands that are coming out, and but it's something we are immensely proud of. You know, we didn't set out to kind of be a part of a scene or anything like that, but that's what happened, and that's fantastic. You know, and as weird as it is to kind of see it the way that, or view it the way that I view like the Florida death metal scene or the, you know, Seattle grunge scene or the whatever. I'm not comparing, but I'm just saying, like, you always have like a vision of another city where all these great bands are, and apparently like people view our tiny city of Gothenburg like that. Super strange to me, but yeah, it is fantastic. I mean, it's awesome, but I still have a problem wrapping my head around that, because it's still pretty surreal to me.
Are there anything extra the fans can look forward to even this year?
Well, this year is basically going to just be festivals and stuff like that, and then we'll get into writing. Like we're kind of set, but now we have like a different lineup, and there are things in the band that we need to kind of resolve and kind of take care of, but it's going to be cool. And then finally we can kind of really get into writing mode. So I'm really looking forward to that, and everybody is. So, but it's going to take some time, or take forever, whatever. It doesn't matter, as long as we come up with something that is fantastic on our minds. You know, we don't want to rush it. We don't want to kind of go too far. So it'll take its time, but we'll get there.
What's the difference between touring in the US and Europe?
It's very different. I mean, sure, the shows are pretty similar, but the crowds are always different, and I guess sometimes you always remember, like, or you forget rather, that in the States, like, it's like traveling to another country every day, even though it's the same country, but it's a different state, it's a totally different vibe. So you can definitely, like, what we feel when we tour here in Europe, where we go like, oh, Switzerland is great, and then Austria is a little someone, and then Germany is different. And it's the same in America, where you go like, Texas is awesome, and then Wyoming, whatever, it's like, it's different. So every day is new, every day is cool, and of course it's a huge difference. America is vast and crazy and insane, and but at the same time, I'm so much more comfortable in Europe touring. So I don't know what I like the most, but and I love the diversity of it. I love traveling to different countries, different continents, whatever, just because of the challenge it presents. You know, or seeing a crowd for the first time is the ultimate. You know, playing in a new city that you haven't played before, and people have been waiting for you for 20 years, something like that. You can't beat that. You know, and so it doesn't matter where you are.
Your band has endured longer than many others from Gothenburg, from the Gothenburg music scene. Do you think the members of the band should be also friends?
I mean, yeah, that helps. No, but of course, I mean, that's how we started out. Like all of our friends and all of us in the band, like we started out. We went to school together. We went to kindergarten together, like, and we lived on the same street, and that's how we started the band. You know, we grew up listening to the same kind of music, hung out, and that's how we formed the band. So, of course, like, things change over the years. You know, now we have families and totally different responsibilities, but the band is the same. You know, and our friendship is still the same, and we totally respect each other. We love each other, and that's all that matters. You know, even though sometimes we don't see each other for weeks, but then we come back, and this is what we do. So, and I think, of course, that totally helps. Sometimes I see bands who are just working commitment kind of thing, and I don't get that. You know.
Yeah. Any final words for your fans?
I'm just super happy that we got to come here again. It's our third time in Sweden Rock. Fucking fantastic. It's the best festival in the world. I'm beyond fucking stoked. This is gonna be awesome. I've been here since Wednesday. I'm gonna stay till the last show. So this is the best. So thank you to everyone who saw the show. Cheers.